Hi, my name's Eric, welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about Billie Eilish. Last week she released her highly anticipated sophomore album Happier Than Ever, and today I'm here to rank all 16 of its songs. This is a subjective ranking, so I'm not ranking these from worst to best, but from least favorite to most favorite. I've listened to the album a few times, especially the songs towards the top of the list, and I think that's given me enough opportunity to really come up with a solid ranking that I'll definitely disagree with tomorrow. Because this ranking is just for fun, and it's really more of a pretext for me to talk about just how much I like this album. In fact, I like every track on this album, so this isn't even going to be a bad to good list, but a good to great list. So if you disagree with my ranking, I promise it's not personal. Don't get mad, get even, and leave your own favorites in the comments down below. And while you're here, check the description box for a link to a list of nonprofits you can donate to. Please subscribe to be here when I post new videos and hit the bell icon to be notified when my videos go live. Without further ado, I'm going to start from the bottom up with number 16, Not My Responsibility. I love the message on this track. I think it is so great that Billie is using her platform to spread a message that basically says, stop being weird, stop scrutinizing other people's bodies. But as far as the album goes, Not My Responsibility isn't exactly a song, but really just a spoken interlude. A very good one, but in this list I'm looking for songs that I enjoy for their lyrics and for their melody, and that I would want to listen to over and over. Not My Responsibility doesn't exactly fit those criteria. But again, it has a great message, and I am glad that it's on this album. At number 15, I have Lost Cause. I feel like a lot of the best songs on this album take multiple great musical ideas and combine them, whereas this song is basically just one central motif chugging along. Also emotionally and lyrically, I think a lot of Billie's best moments involve a combination of vulnerability and power, which I think gets a little bit lost in the song when it focuses on anger. I will say that this is a song that sounds a lot better with headphones on because Billie and Phineas focused a lot on layering details on this album, which is especially important on a song like Lost Cause, where the instrumentation sounds a bit more minimal. Number 14 is Everybody Dies. I think the best aspect of the song is that Billie uses mortality as motivation to grow as a person. She says ultimately that our mortality is unifying, which I think is a nice spin on an otherwise dark topic. But for me personally, the song takes a bit of a while to get to that interesting perspective, and instead spends a lot of time on the typical ideas about death that we've heard in other Billie songs and in songs by other artists. That said, the melody on this song is beautiful. I love the echoes of classic jazz and the way that it has almost the feeling of a Bond song like No Time to Die. At number 13, I have Therefore I Am. I'm actually really surprised that the song ended up so low on the list because it is so catchy, but I think that speaks to the strength of the rest of the album. This song to me fits in a similar category to Lost Cause, mostly just chest puffing without the extra context and details that I would need to connect more to this power play that Billie is hinting at. That said, the song is so fun, and her sort of raspy rapping on the first verse will always be quotable and iconic. Number 12 is Halley's Comet. I love the idea of the title of this song. The line, Halley's Comet comes around more than I do, just really speaks to me as an introvert. I also really like the reverby outro. It's celestial in a way that fits the song perfectly. I think in the context of the album, the song is relatively stripped back and slow, so I don't find myself thinking about it or returning to it very often. But this is another song like Everybody Dies, where its melody is one of its best aspects, especially on the line, what a drag to love you like I do. It is just so beautiful. At number 11, I have Overheated. The beat on this song is great, and I really enjoy the different threads of types of songs woven throughout this album. Jazz-inspired ballads like Halley's Comet, R&B-influenced songs like Therefore I Am, and possibly my favorite of all, glitchy electronic bangers like Overheated. I think the main flaw of this song for me is the bridge where Billie seems like she's trying to criticize beauty standards without attacking other women, but ends up calling them inanimate and plastic, so I think her messaging just could have been clearer there. But the song to me also happens to be one of the catchiest on the album. Number 10 is Getting Older. This is a really interesting opener because lyrically it does a great job of getting us up to speed on where Billie's mind is on this album, but sonically it is so different from the rest of the album. It reminds me of some of the piano pop of the early 2000s like Regina Spektor or Lily Allen, and in that same vein it has some of the album's most direct and revealing lyrics. It also very efficiently and cleverly sets up 3 of the album's main themes, which are time, intimacy, and power. Number 9 is I Didn't Change My Number. The transition from the opener to this song was so surprising, and I immediately loved this song. I think of the songs on this album with more aggressive and forward electronic production, this one has somewhat less complex lyrics. Billie uses this device where she name drops people that she knows in real life, and while that'll be rewarding to people who really closely follow her personal life, most of her listeners probably will not be familiar with those names. Regardless though, the dog snarl at the beginning of the song is fantastic. There are so many great details to listen for, and the chorus is extremely catchy. At number 8, I have Your Power. This song is arguably one of the most important songs on the album, not just because it changes the course of the album, but also because it has one of the most important messages about, as the title suggests, abuses of power. I think the way that Billie moves from a story about someone else on the first verse to herself on the second verse is really smart, because it's a great way of building up that personal connection between the listener and the subject. And by picking up some common lines that we hear in conversation or in the news, like "you thought she was your age," she really makes it clear that this song is broad in scope and applies to all of her listeners, not just to the most vulnerable or the most violent, but to everyone. Number 7 is Billie Bossa Nova. This is one of the most overtly seductive songs that Billie has written, and I think structuring it around euphemisms and double entendres was definitely the way to go. That sort of wink to camera has always been her style, and I think combining that sort of flirty caginess with her newfound sense of power makes the song something that we've never heard from Billie before. And its smoothness makes it a perfect complement to a more aggressive song like Oxytocin. Number 6 is NDA. I love the song's chorus. The pulsating synths are fantastic, and that distortion is just excellent. Lyrically, I love the detail about having a guy over and making him sign an NDA. As someone who's not in the spotlight, I don't know if I ever would have thought of that. It's just such a great illustration of how Billie struggles with trust and privacy, and how that paranoia invades even her most intimate moments. Number 5 is Male Fantasy. If you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, then you'll know that I really love folk and singer-songwriter music, especially when the lyrics are specific. This song fits that bill for sure, and it has some of Billie's best lyrics. A lot of people have said that this song reminds them of Phoebe Bridgers, and while as a big fan of hers I definitely hear the similarity, I think that Billie's perspective on this song is distinctly her own. But I will say a device that she uses really well, like Phoebe, is that she combines her most emotionally impactful moments with punchlines, specifically at the end of each verse, like when she says, "Nothing lasts, I know the deal," just casual. This is a really beautiful song and a great closer. Number 4 is Oxytocin. To me, Oxytocin is this album's bad guy in the best way. Besides the samples and synths actually sounding kind of similar, this song has those same sort of unnerving seductive qualities as Bad Guy, except this time Billie is firmly in charge. Because something that's changed between When We All Fall Asleep and Happier Than Ever is that Billie has become an adult and she's become more self-assured, so now she feels less susceptible to predatory behavior and to posturing and to manipulation. Now she can inhabit that menace and that power without it being qualified by her fear. Number 3 is My Future. I loved this single when it came out, and I think it's actually even better in the context of the album. The jazz influence makes the song so smooth and breezy, and of all the songs on the album that deal with time and aging, this song handles those themes the best. The structure of My Future makes it feel shorter than it actually is, which makes it very re-listenable to me. Billie's runs on this song are crisp, and I am so glad that she went in this stylistic direction because it suits her voice perfectly. At number 2, I have GOLDWING. First things first, I am a sucker for a choral interlude, and the intro to this song is pristine and haunting. Then the way that the song builds out from that Gustav Holst melody and samples Billie's angelic falsetto to flip it on its head and make it something ominous is peak Billie Eilish. The song feels very much like what Billie would have wanted to tell a younger version of herself before the industry had her in its clutches. And the hook makes me smile every time because it is just so catchy. I love this song. But there is one song that I love most of all, and I'm sure you've already guessed it. It's the title track, Happier Than Ever. I think this song epitomizes the album's vision and what Billie and Phineas do best, which is bringing together their best musical ideas. I love the incorporation of that 30s and 40s jazz feel in a modernized and subtle way. The first half of the song actually reminds me a lot of a song like Dream a Little Dream of Me. And then the transition to rock is smooth and fits really well emotionally, especially with Billie moving from the sense of peace and coming to terms with her heartbreak to outright anger and resentment. A lot of Billie's charm in her When We All Fall Asleep era came from the contrast between her light and youthful voice and dark aesthetic and subject matter, and this song feels like a progression of that contrast. Happier Than Ever is well produced, beautifully performed, and cathartic, and it's one of my new favorite Billie Eilish songs. So that is my ranking. As you can probably tell, I really enjoyed Happier Than Ever. I think I like it even more than When We All Fall Asleep. I think Billie and Phineas did a great job, and I cannot wait to see what they do next. Like I said, please leave your own lists and favorites in the comments. Check the description for those donation links. Please subscribe to be here when I post new videos. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you are staying safe and healthy, and until next time, that's it.